Welcome to Comic Book Nation's The Pool List, where we talk about comics from all companies of all kinds every single week. I am Matt Aguilar here, and of course, we got the crew and a new joining to the show. Kofi Outlaw, what's up, buddy?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Doing good. And from location, from the store, Adam Barnhart, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about some comics.
Absolutely. So, for those who haven't joined us previously, the Pool List is your one-stop shop for comics. We cover everything from the big two, but also we cover a lot of other books from every other company. We talk in depth about two main books, and then we kind of give our rec or pass recommendation at the end to let you know if you should go into your local comic shop or on your digital storefront of choice and go grab it. We do these every single week. You can catch us also on the audio side if you prefer to do that on our podcast platform of choice. And you can also catch us talking comics on our main show on Fridays. So don't worry, we're still talking comics there, but this format gives us a little bit of a chance to actually go in deep on comics and actually really talk about them. We got some big ones today. We're going to start with Superior Spider-Man #1, but we also, just to balance things out, have we're going to talk the Deviant as well for something like completely on the opposite side of things, and then we're going to go through some rapid fire reviews of some books that I know Adam and Kofi are both excited to talk about. So first, though, let's start with Superior Spider-Man #1. Superior Spider-Man, we've talked about it on the main show a little bit. That character in that time frame in Spider-Man's mythology has a lot of fans. It's a fan favorite interpretation. It was essentially Dr. Octopus becoming Spider-Man for a while and kind of lending his genius to what is already a genius in Peter Parker and becoming a better Spider-Man. And so that has kind of stuck out even when everything went back to the status quo. That has stuck out. Well, now Superior Spider-Man is back, but it's kind of back in theory, because we're on issue 2 now, and that character is actually not back yet. It's not back yet. So I guess the main question I wanted to start with, Adam reviewed the book for us for Comicbook.com, which you can check out on the site. But is that magic still there? That the things that I remember, I loved that storyline. It's one of the reasons I defend a lot of, like, Dan Slott Spider-Man runs, is like that's one of the runs I always point to. That's I just adored. So does it still have that here? Is something missing? Do you like it more? Like, where do you stand? We'll start with you, Adam, because you reviewed the book for us.
To answer your magic question, no, absolutely not. Uh, it's just
Just
totally
trying to
gone
leave
for me, at
boxes.
least. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you said. We got that bizarre zero issue or a one shot or whatever. Superior returns. Then we get this, and we don't have Superior Spider-Man yet. We hardly even have Doctor Ock, in this one issue. So it gets to, I think what's even worse than a bad comic is a comic that makes you feel nothing. And to me,
Oof.
this was just kind of a nothing burger. I felt nothing after reading it. It's just, and then I started questioning. Um, I almost said reality. I just necessity, I guess. This comic threw me into an
Wow.
existential crisis.
Maybe
No,
question
but
my
it's
life.
it,
Wow.
Spider-Man is, I'll probably get some hate for this or some flag, but Spider-Man's one of the most vanilla characters either at Marvel or DC. And you need something to, you need like the toffee bits or something, to sprinkle on top. And that's what Superior Spider-Man the original did, and that's totally missing um, from this. Magic was nowhere near this issue for me.
Also learning about Adam's ice cream preferences with the toffee bits.
Yeah, Butterbrickle is my favorite ice cream. I'll
That's
just throw
you,
that out there.
you got to read between the lines and really find the
Yeah,
big information here. That's what we're going to take
yeah.
away from this. Kofi, what are you feeling? I remember you being kind of lukewarm on that prologue too.
Yeah, I think Superior Spider-Man is a case where Marvel kind of wrote themselves into a corner. I think people love that version of the character, but finding a way to explain how we get to Superior Spider-Man, like it worked initially, like that worked for that storyline. Something happened to Peter, Doc Ock swips, trades brains. It's very comic booky, but you got it. Him having to walk through Peter's shoes as Spider-Man from this new angle and use his genius in different ways how it affected him, how he affected the kind of image of Spider-Man. That was all interesting, right? Like that's why that character appealed, even if the actual superior storylines were kind of dumb a lot of the time, like the actual larger arcs he was on. This is in this, and I think it's true for across Spider-Man comics right now. I don't think these are what we're getting as advertised. I feel like it's just one big mash of continuity they're trying to fix, straighten out, or reinvigorate in some way. That's why now we have all these. This issue is just all about the forgotten things, the forgotten realities.
Yeah.
We all forgot about Spider-Boy. Doc Ock forgot about Superior Spider-Man. None of us can make sense of this. I don't even know if there's a human being on the planet right now who is so dedicated to Spider-Man comics that they can straighten out the last 10 years of them. I don't know if that person exists. I'm sure there's a whole room full of Marvel people that sit down and have to do all this, and they end up like Charlie and Sonny in Philadelphia with the Carol, mural behind them. And so, like, yeah, it's kind of hard to know, like, if they have anything to even do. They have to clean up so much stuff, and this is essentially what this issue is doing. Still, it's cleaning up, like, kind of all of the mess of the continuity to even be able to access Superior Spider-Man. We got to undo all this stuff with Doc Ock first, right? And so how we're going to go from him remembering who Peter is in his time as Superior Spider-Man to getting that back is something that this book really does have to pull off, and it has to pull it off of it quick.
Yeah, I think, that's going to kind of lead into my second question of can this be salvaged? Can it, it's one of those things you always hear about, a show or whatever, and it's got like a, lackluster couple of first episodes, but people are like, but like episode 4, if you can make it to episode 4, it's amazing. And it's awesome from that point out. And this issue and the last issue but this one especially feels like that. They are trying to figure out a way to get him back to being Superior Spider-Man without screwing up their new status quo. That's what this feels like, right? They are trying to figure out a way to get Doc Ock back to that character without having him switch brains and do all the stuff again, because they can't do that. They got other stuff going on. And so that's what this feels like. And there's parts of this issue I actually like. I'm going to also draw flag, and I probably drew flag when I said this before. I really actually enjoy Spider-Boy a lot.
Oh, wow.
I actually like that series. I liked him in Edge or End or whatever the Spider-Verse book that kind of introduced him was. I enjoyed his role in that. So like I've grown on that. I didn't like the idea at all when it was first introduced, and now it's grown on me. It's a lot like Damien in that respect. So his parts of the book I enjoy, but this is like a Spider-Boy, Spider-Man book for half of it, and then it's flashbacks, and then it's a little bit of in the present, and then we literally get Doc Ock at the very end. Like there's so much here that's just not what was advertised, and I agree with Kofi on that. Like it's not a bait and switch, because I don't think it's malicious, and I don't think it was just to sell stuff, but at the same time, it's just like, oh my God, can we get to what we came to this series for? And right now they're not there yet. I think I don't actually know if this is an ongoing off the top of my brain or if this is a mini. I want to say it's an ongoing. I didn't see a mini tag on it. So if it's an ongoing, I think it can. It's got to get past like the first, like, let's establish everything. Let's get Doc Ock back in the suit. Let's do all that stuff and get there. And once we get there, maybe we can run with it at that point. But I will also say, I don't know if a bunch of people are going to stick around for that. If that takes 3, 4, 5 issues, it's at least taking 3. If it takes more than that, I don't know how many are going to stay on board. There was also a touch on, I know Jim Viscardi had big passionate things about this, the artwork. It is Mark Bagley is like one of the, I don't think you can, I understand when people are like, they don't like his artwork, or they don't like, they're tired of his Spider-Man, but like, he's one of the quintessential Spider-Man artists. Like I can't envision, this man drew Spider-Man when I was really into that character, and those, like, I will never be able to separate that in my brain. So I don't mind it. And it feels very much like his style of Spider-Man. That doesn't mean that there aren't, some panels that feel like rushed, or that just not even feel rushed. They just don't feel, I don't know. So they don't stand out for all the reasons I wish they they would. But do you feel like this would have been better with a different artist?
I mean, as much as I want to keep going back to 90s Spider-Man quote unquote glory, yeah, I think the book, I think part of making this fresh again is giving it a fresh look and maybe even doing it and get dangerous with Spider-Man, like do an artistic take that like few of us would expect. Do it in a different kind of way. Get somebody new who's willing to get a little weird with it and crazy, because Spider-Man can be a weird, quirky kind of fun character. Look at Spider-Verse movies and like everything they've done there, just to kind of in the different interpretations of Spider-Man and women and things. So I think they do. As much as I want to hang on to Mark Bagley's work and remember my glory days on being on the floor as a kid reading comics, like more and more it just starts to look kind of outdated. Anything that makes me feel like 90s comics, it's not necessarily great anymore to me, but that's just personally me. But I think a lot of what you said, just kind of echoing and coming back to it, like with Spider-Boy, like, yeah, I like these characters, but it's just clear that, no pun intended, there's like such a tangled web of continuity around all this that nobody can like have any fun with this without having to slop through, comb through all these knots and get it out. Like, we should be able to just enjoy a Spider-Boy. I hope they just go crazy and pull like Superior Spider-Man from another dimension or some other thing or some other way that he exists separate from both Peter and Doc Ock now, and he's his own person. That would get weird for me and be kind of cool. And he's like a little bit kind of Spider-Man-ish, but a little bit Doc Ock-ish, and he's neither of them. And like we just have him being in the middle of things, like that would get weird. I'd love that. So yeah, get weird, get a little dangerous with Spider-Man. I feel like as Adam said, like it's just so vanilla a lot of the time. And the most dangerous thing we do with this character is he single or is he not? And like it's like, yeah, we can get a little bit more dangerous than that.
You brought up a good point. I'm just waiting for like issue 3 or 4 where the logos actually comes out, on the trade dress and it says Superior Spider Boy or something like that. I go, okay, so that's how it comes back.
Oh man. Okay, I had to read that book. All right, anyway, sorry. That's my do you think it can recapture it, Adam? Do you think it can stick the landing if it just takes some time to get stuff together?
I put way too much commitment in the comics. I can never stop halfway through an arc or something, I have to see it through to the end of the arc. So maybe, I mean, it's not like I'm going to drop it just quite yet, but who knows? What reboot or, whatever you want to call it, revival is better than the original? I don't, maybe a little bit, maybe it'll capture that magic a little bit, but, I'm certainly not holding my breath after reading the 2 we've read so far. But,
That's fair.
maybe have a little optimism, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
That's fair.
Mad Max. That's the only answer I have.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's the only answer I have.
I was trying to think of one and I couldn't.
My brain like started spazzing out. I was like, I don't know. Is there? Mad Max is the only sole example I can think of off the top of my head.
That's a good thing.
If you want to count the Suicide Squad in there, I guess.
That's a well.
But I think your points. I think those prove that you're kind of right. Is the amount of struggle that we're doing here? It kind of proves your point there.
Those are the exception, not the rule. You know what's not better than the original? Chips. That remake stuff.
Oh my god.
Okay. I love Chips. Chips is a classic.
Look,
Poncherello, man.
Anyway. Be another Eric Estrada. That is true. All right.
So we're gonna move into something completely different, and little horror. Bringing in a little James Tynion inspired horror series. His series, kind of outside of the big 2, I feel like have established a reputation for taking some chances and doing some things. I mean, especially look, we're big fans of Something Is Killing the Children. I'm a huge fan of House of Slaughter. Kofi's a huge fan of oh my god, I'm blanking on the Lake House, right? Not the Lake House. Lake House is a wonderful rom-com.
Last House on the Lake. Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice House on the Lake.
So like, he's got kind of a rep for doing some interesting things. And so when I saw that we were doing something inspired by the Christmas season, a little kind of Killer Santa-esque thing, you always never know if there's going to be something supernatural with it. So the Deviant #1 hits, and I guess because we're standing on we're comparing it to those other series. How do you feel this stands up to his other original books? By the way, and also kind of curious too, what's your actual favorite of his kind of non big two books? Let's start with Adam. Did you have a chance to read this one?
I did, yeah, and I'm gonna be super impartial to it because like Christmas horrors, like my little niche. I love you put like a Santa hat with blood splatters, and I'll probably get an instant 5 out of 5. I just
Good
I
to know.
just love Christmas horror, and it's great, and I've you talk about Tinian's indie stuff. And I think he has a well-deserved reputation. You see those Roman numerals on a horror indie book, and I'll in my experience, I've enjoyed mostly everything he's put out. And the Deviants, no exception. I thought it was a really solid debut.
Kofi, what'd you think?
I think this one was interesting. In fact, weirdly enough, I had to keep checking the front and making sure I wasn't reading a Tom King book for a little bit. I was like, is this
I
a
can see
very
that.
right? But this one, I mean, because it's just the way it jumps between time periods and the way the panels are set up as like, conversational panels and very good, well written conversation and engrossing conversation. It had a very Tom King effect on me. But it wasn't like as what I thought it was. And that's not a knock against it. I could see that it's building this kind of larger mythology over time periods. And it did just enough to kind of keep me intrigued and to kind of see like what's going on with this. But it was not quite what I thought when I saw the cover and I opened the book. I was like, and started getting into it. I was like, okay, well, this isn't what I thought. But again, not uninteresting of these, all the themes that are going on in here and kind of what's working in. Just enough of the horror touch and some horrible stuff to kind of keep you intrigued, or at least like, ooh, we gonna get to a monster and kind of going in. So I always give Tinian always can grab me pretty well at the beginning. Now, if we can keep up the steam, that's something different, but I am at least intrigued, and I think that's the word I would use by this.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think I and looking back, it was probably on me because I don't know why I I saw the cover. I know why. I saw the cover and you think, "Oh, okay, Killer Santa Claus." Like that strikes you immediately. And then you think, "Okay, well, there's probably going to be some kind of mystery about who it is or, tracking down the killer, something along those lines." And it's really not. You know who the killer is. Well, or at least for all intents and purposes as they present it, you know who the killer is. Half the book is talking to the killer about things and filling in blanks and stuff like that. And honestly, that's the stuff that he does best. He dialogue and conversational dialogue, especially. And there's conversations that's like very Silence of the Lambs ish feels across the table. And I did very much also get uh that king tone and back and forth. But there's actually the stuff that's in here that is brutal is sufficiently brutal. Like that does live up to it. It's just not as prevalent as I thought, and the actual scares aren't as prevalent as I thought. But it does tee up things by the end to kind of, now that we've set the stage, who the main people are. I would be surprised if like next issue isn't heavier in that regard, if you're not going to get kind of more of the in the moment tension creepiness of things. So I it kind of surprised me. It wasn't exactly what I expected, but that's also why I liked it and why it continued to grab me. And I was like ultra tired when I read this, and there's a lot of dialogue, and typically when that happens, I'm like, I had to shut it like 25% of the way through. I'll read this in the morning. I'm not there. My brain, I'm falling asleep playing a mobile game. Like it's not gonna happen. And I kept going. I was like, no, I want to see how this ends. I want to see it. And then I took a nap right after that. So yeah, I'm digging it. I'm interested to see where it goes. Kofi, which is your favorite of his like non big two series?
Ooh, did he do something that's killing the children?
Yeah.
I would know more about that if you sent me my book. So I don't know about that.
No, I knew it. You set me up.
Yes, I did.
Dang it!
No,
I
I
fell
really
for
like
it
Last
too.
House. I really
Oh.
like Last House on the Lake, and you know, obviously, I like the way that Tinian in some of his indie work is especially kind of really working in these like major LGBTQ cultural themes and things like that into these books in ways that aren't heavy or very good, really make you think, really humanize these like have characters that are so human and three-dimensional. And like Last House on the Lake is something, or Nice House on the Lake is something I would love to see as like an HBO series about,
That's got that written all over it.
yeah, it's got written all over it. So that's my favorite by far. This was interesting. I think now looking at the title again, I'm finally like, oh, I get it. Like I get the title now and like what like, I just now kind of got it. But yeah, he's just very good writer. Like no matter what, like I'm intrigued by the ideas, the themes, the lines of dialogue I get in here. So I like it all, but yeah, Nice House on the Lake is definitely my fave.
Yeah. Adam, which one's your favorite?
Something you got to go with, Something's Killing the Children. That's one of the indie books that just it's great. What indie books have all captured kind of all of comics, like Something That's Killing the Children saga, before it. It's one of those rare books that's just absolutely excellent. So that's probably my favorite of his.
Yeah.
Indie one, at least.
Yeah, and I'll echo that same. That's one of my
Feels so
continues to be
left
one
out,
of my
man.
favorite books. And
Feels so
I get a chance to read it every day because I have the books right here. So it's like
not me.
So we got to move through these. We just got a couple minutes left. So Adam, I know you had pointed out something in Ghost Rider 20 you wanted to give some props to.
Sorry, I opened another program. No, so you said something that I want to speak on Ghost Rider. You said sufficiently brutal, and that's kind of what Ghost Rider has been throughout the first 19 issues or whatever, right? I'm surprised Marvel's let Percy and Corey Smith push the boundaries as far as they have. It gets pretty gory. Obviously, they don't swear or do anything like that, but man, it's bloody. There was a sequence where the spirit busted out of Johnny's chest like it was an alien instead of just like burning away. It's been pretty crazy so far. But Ghost Rider 20 has one of the most bizarre scenes I've seen in recent memory. I don't want to give too much away, but it's to save the world. Do we talk spoilers on the poll list?
Yeah. You can
Yeah. Six are out.
So
Buy 'em.
essentially, to save the world, Johnny Blaze and Talia Warroad have sex because they need to birth what's called a moonchild. And it's the most bizarre sequence that ever happens. I'm very suspicious because the same day this issue came out, they announced that a new Ghost Rider's coming. But the moonchild baby thing reminds me of that old viral video of the kid stuck in peanut butter. He goes like, that's what this little moonchild thing reminds me of. He does nothing all issue. He just kind of stands there with a flaming head, and it's wild, it's bizarre. There's only
Like
one issue left in this,
man. And like Spider-Man, they're dangerous.
I was gonna say they got edgy. Yeah, it's fiery moon babies. Is that edgy enough?
Fiery moon baby. Watch the sequence because when things happen, things explode, and it's nuts. There's one issue left, so we'll see how they wrap it up. But my goodness, this issue is just kind of it reads like a fever dream, and I dig it. I dig fever dreams for the most part.
Kofi, I know you wanted to touch on Alien. Was that a fever dream for you?
No, it's a continuation of the last. Declan Shalvey and Andrea Picardo are kind of continuing their Alien saga. They've kind of teased weaving some bigger things. I've been enjoying these anthologies. I think they're both this and the Predator series are good for kind of exploring some new ideas for these franchises. And so, this new arc begins. It's a sequel to the last arc, which is kind of rare in these comics. And so far, it's been pretty interesting. So I'm kind of interested to see where this next one goes.
For me, closing out our rapid fire reviews, Green Lantern #5. This book just this like captures like everything I love about Green Lantern. From the very like basic like Hal versus Sinestro type setup, but they're in very different places, to constructs that aren't like simple things. Like, yes, he uses a katana at one point, which rules, but like at one point he literally has to create two simultaneous constructs that go like complete opposite sides of the planet, and like you have like a dog on one side, and then you've got like this phoenix on the other, and like it's just big and epic and everything like Green Lantern should be. He should not be making just like baseball bats, power beams, and boxing gloves. He should make other stuff. So like I'm psyched for that. Where we leave Sinestro is great. I think what they've done with Sinestro, kind of building him back up and trying to find new ways to make him vulnerable, is really good. So yeah, a lot of praise for that. So I'm going to cut the last book because we are out of time. But for our, I know what the answer is going to be, but for Record Pass, do we give let's start with Kofi. What are you coming in on? Thumbs up, thumbs down on Superior Spider-Man #1?
I'm gonna say thumbs down. If you're not like deeply invested in Spider-Man, I don't see how you enjoy this.
Yeah, Adam, where are you coming in? Thumbs up,
thumbs down for sure. Yeah, it's thumbs down.
Can I give like Spider-Boy? Can I give Spider-Boy a thumbs up in the book?
And you gotta make this rapid, so you better choose
All
now.
right, thumbs down, fine, thumbs down. There we go. And the Deviant, Kofi, where are you feeling?
I'm gonna say thumbs up. I think Tinian's interesting, and I think there's quite a few more sophisticated comic readers that would enjoy this.
Adam?
Likewise, man, it's perfect for the season.
Yeah, I'm going to give that a thumbs up too. I think it hits all the right notes. And you can check out more coverage on these comics. We've got a ton of reviews going up on Comicbook.com today. And of course, you can check out more from the pull list right here on Comic Book Nation YouTube page and on your audio podcast platform of choice. Catch you next time. Peace.